Well, Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan faces that no trust motion today. The process begins today, but the actual vote will happen in a few days from now. The opposition is continuing to mount pressure on Imran to submit his resignation with dignity instead of facing the ignominy of the actual trust vote. Pakistan's Army Chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, is also in contact with Imran Khan, who he met on Wednesday at his residence. The opposition needs a majority of 172 assembly legislators backing the no-confidence motion, whereas Imran similarly needs 172 voting against the motion or the opposition failing to reach that 172 mark. The Pakistan Prime Minister is strategizing on how best to beat this no-trust vote. He's trying everything in the book. The PTI MLAs have been ordered MNAs have been ordered to skip the voting session. This in order to mitigate the chances of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf dissenters secretly casting a vote in favor of the opposition. Basically, dissenters within Imran Khan's party. Now, if Imran Khan loses the vote, a united opposition could form the government. The leader is likely to face arrest. Imran Khan is likely to face arrest over a foreign funding case. He could also, perhaps, like has been so many times with other Pakistani leaders through history, Imran could be crafting his exit from Pakistan to escape legal trial. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid has claimed that Prime Minister Imran Khan will fight till his last breath and win this battle.
नेशनल सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल की इमरजेंसी मीटिंग कॉल हो गई है, इसलिए उसके लिए मैं लाहौर का दौरा मंसूख कर रहा हूं और इंशाअल्लाह मीर जाफरों और इन गद्दारों, इस जमहूरियत के गद्दारों और ब्लैकमेलरों के खिलाफ इमरान खान कल तो खिताब नहीं किया, लेकिन उम्मीद है कि आज खिताब करें।
सर क्या नजर आ रहा है सर?
नजर तो अभी 2 दिन बड़े हैं। मैं कल का और परसों का इंशाअल्लाह ताला इमरान खान लड़ेगा आखिरी बॉल और आखिरी ओवर तक।
वज़ीर आज़म ने सेफ रास्ता मांग लिया है, आसान रास्ता मांग लिया अपोजिशन से। इन चोरों से मांगेगा वज़ीर आज़म रास्ता? वज़ीर आज़म ने इस्तीफा देने की पेशकश कर दी है। वज़ीर आज़म इस्तीफा नहीं देगा। वज़ीर आज़म बड़ी शान से इस लड़ाई के अंदर जाएगा, क्योंकि लड़ाई हमारी इन बोनों के साथ थोड़ी, इनकी क्या औकात है? इन बोनों, सियासी बोनों के साथ हमारी लड़ाई थोड़ी है। वज़ीर आज़म की लड़ाई तो साम्राज्य के साथ है, जो पाकिस्तान के ऊपर अपनी हाकमियत चाहता है, जो पाकिस्तान के अंदर हुकूमतें बनाते और गिराते रहा है। वज़ीर आज़म की लड़ाई उस साम्राज्य के खिलाफ है जिन्होंने, भुट्टो ने जब नारा लगाया था आजाद खारजा पॉलिसी की, तो फिर उसको भी फांसी दिलवा के हटा था वो साम्राज्य। वज़ीर आज़म की लड़ाई जो है वो इन सियासी बोनों के साथ नहीं है।
And I want to go across to journalist from Islamabad, Alia Zehra. Alia, good to have you back. Thanks for being with us. Apart from approaching court, Imran Khan now offering to dissolve the assembly, if this no trust motion is taken off the table. But expectedly, the opposition is in no mood to entertain any such request. Alia, how do you see that?
Yeah, so previously when the opposition was holding protests against Imran Khan before this no trust motion was tabled, he used to say that I will not give NRO to the opposition, and they are out there asking for an NRO, which I will not give. But now the opposition, to his request of cancelling the no trust motion, the opposition is now saying the same thing, that we won't give NRO to Imran Khan. So it seems that the tables have turned, and the opposition is now refusing to accept any kind of offer that Imran Khan makes. And we have also been told, some sources are saying that some people in the establishment who are close to Imran Khan have also contacted the opposition leaders on his behalf, conveying some kind of message to resolve the differences or to come sit on the table. And he also invited them to the in-camera session of the National Security Committee, which is quite unusual because he never invites the opposition leaders to such a meeting, and he's often, his habit is to just dismiss them and call them looters and thieves, and instead of engaging with them in a meaningful manner, the way it works in parliamentary democracy. But now that he extended an invitation to the opposition for the parliamentary committee meeting, which they have turned down, and Bilawal Bhutto and other opposition leaders saying that they will boycott the session. And it's understandable because the opposition is in a very comfortable position right now, and their numbers game is complete. The PTI's dissident members are with them. So the day no confidence vote takes place, Imran will be gone. So he knows that, and which is why he's trying to kind of in different ways woo the opposition. But the opposition understandably doesn't want to respond to any of that. They don't see his foreign conspiracy accusation as credible. And they have said that no such letter exists in the first place, and he does not.
Earlier you're talking about the comfortable position in which the opposition is right now, which is very clear to see from those numbers. There are some prominent Pakistan media outlets that are reporting, that there are some back channel discussions happening, like you rightly said, between Imran Khan's team and the opposition, some kind of face-saving formula that can, help him avoid this entire, this disastrous no-trust motion, which he appears to be set to lose. What are you hearing about that? Are there actually conversations going on?
Yeah, so in Pakistan's politics, you can't say that it's over till it's over.
Yeah.
So there certainly must be some kind of discussions going on, and we see that even some people suggest that even the establishment is divided on what it means to support the opposition against Imran Khan. So probably he's reaching out to some of his close contacts in the establishment. We know that the former DGISI, General Faiz Hamid, is very close to Imran Khan. He's now been posted to, as the Corps Commander in Peshawar, which means that, that was a whole controversy. The notification of the new DGISI was delayed, which kind of led to the differences between the establishment and Imran Khan. So he does have people there in the establishment who still maybe support him, right? So maybe he's trying to, he's in talks with them, because it is clear that he's not going to resign. There was a meeting between him and the army chief yesterday, and it was expected that he would probably tone himself down and kind of accept the fact that he's lost majority. But it seems that it's a kind of a battle of ego for him now, and he's trying to, cling on to power by hook or by crook, even if it means that he has to literally beg the opposition in some way and, get the army or the establishment involved. So it doesn't seem that even though many people are advising him to resign, even people who have been previously telling him to continue fighting till his last breath and, till the last ball or whatever cricket analogies they use. But even those people are now saying that Imran needs to resign, because that would be a dignified way to handle this crisis. But it doesn't seem that he's going to resign. There's a Jalsa planned again on Sunday, which is going to be another show of power. It hasn't been confirmed yet. So Imran Khan did say that there was a Jalsa taking place, but now Interior Minister told us that they aren't certain about that. So he's even undecided about, of course, on such short notice, you cannot handle the whole Jalsa arrangement and bring people in the capital and show strength. So it seems that Imran Khan had not consulted his party colleagues before announcing that the Jalsa will take place on Sunday. So we're not even sure if that Jalsa is happening, but he did announce that. So it seems that he's in a state of desperation. And but he
how much time does he have, Alia? How much time does Imran Khan have to try and fix a situation that appears to be beyond his control very soon?
Yeah, so the voting is likely to take place on Monday. Today, the National Assembly session is about to begin. I think it must have begun by now. And then, today debates will take place. And the Assembly will debate the no confidence motion. And it is expected that the opposition members will make strong speeches. And then on Monday, most probably, on Monday or Tuesday, I think Monday, it depends on how the speaker handles it, the voting will take place. So until then, he can probably,
long time
try
before.
and fix something, but it's
I'm sure you agree with me, Alia, because, that's one thing that's very common between both our countries, among the many other things, which is that in politics, nothing is over till it's over. And there's a long time, many, many hours to go between now and Monday or Tuesday. So we'll have to see how Imran Khan actually navigates it, whether he's going to be able to get through to the sitting pretty opposition, or whether this really gets completely out of hand for him. Is it going to be endgame him? Alia, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being with me and getting us that update from Islamabad. Let's show you what the Pakistan Assembly actually looks like. Here's what the National Assembly looks like in Pakistan, because this is where that no trust motion is taking place. Train your eyes down here on the ground where you can see it. It's a total number of 342 seats. The majority required here in any trust motion is 172 seats. Imran's coalition currently has 164 seats. The United Opposition currently has 177. So they've got 5 seats more. The United Opposition has 5 seats more than the required mark to actually get this no trust motion through against Imran Khan. So right now, things, as you can see in these numbers, very, very precarious for that man, Imran Khan. Can he change things between now and Monday and Tuesday when the trust vote actually takes place? That remains to be seen. Meanwhile, I had a conversation with senior commentator and columnist from Pakistan, Meher Tarar, who has been an admirer of Imran Khan and has been tweeting quite a bit about him as well. She's also an author. Listen in. Here are some questions she answered on this fast developing situation, which could very much end in Imran Khan's exit as Prime Minister. At a time when things are very, very precarious, increasingly precarious by the minute actually, with those numbers falling, is senior journalist, very well-known commentator and columnist Meher Tarar. Meher, good to see you. Thanks for being with me. I know this is a difficult time for Pakistan's politics. We've been tracking all the things you've been saying about what's going on. But my first question to you, Meher, is, in your view, is this game over, Imran? Is it khel khatam, Imran Khan?
Hi, thank you, Shiv. I can't see you, but good to hear you. Good to hear your voice after a very long time. If Imran Khan was facing a normal constitutional democratic no confidence motion, that would have been perfectly fine. And that's the beauty of democracy. Whether we like it or not, there is always a way for the parliament to state their position vis-a-vis the opposition, in this case, the government. But that is not what has happened. All of a sudden, in a few weeks, everything has come together. But because right from day one, there was this thing about Imran Khan being selected chosen by the establishment, and the only good thing that has come out of this Imran Khan hatao or debacle tamasha that is going on in Pakistan is that at least that is no longer true. That Imran Khan is establishment's puppet, and because a number of opposition leaders, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, has said this on TV multiple times. There are other people who have said that, other people from the opposition side who have said this, that no confidence vote has ever succeeded in Pakistan. But if something like this happens, it is only on the backing of the establishment. So in a way, people like us who voted for Imran Khan are glad that at least that perception is being eliminated. There is no, the government is not trying to halt the vote in any way, but they are not doing that. The vote will take place when it is supposed to take place.
But
Imran Khan,
we do know that Imran Khan met with the army and the ISI leadership yesterday, as any prime minister would do. Who is the establishment, who is the military favoring? If I could ask you that, how is this all gone against Imran Khan?
I mean, if you are following my tweets, you must have heard about the letter that Pakistan's Prime Minister received from Pakistan's ambassador in the United States. Now, even the anti-Imran Khan, not anti-Imran Khan, but critical of Imran Khan journalists have been speaking about it. They are tweeting about it. There is Naseem Zahra, one of the most renowned Pakistani journalists, often quite critical of the Prime Minister, has tweeted it. That the US government said it categorically. I think this happened when Prime Minister Imran Khan said in an interview that he will not allow any foreign bases, any US bases to operate from Pakistan. When he used the words absolutely not, I think this is when it all started. To say that it is completely and absolutely a foreign conspiracy, or the US is pressurizing Pakistan's establishment to remove Imran Khan. Of course, that is not true. But the opposition has been active since the day Imran Khan became the Prime Minister of Pakistan in August 2018. They have been after him. It's whether you believe it or not, whether you think I'm speaking as a PTI, as an Imran Khan supporter. They have been saying it from day one. Unfortunately,
why isn't Imran showing the letter itself? The letter that you're talking about. Sorry to interrupt, but the opposition is saying, where is this letter? Why aren't you producing this letter in public? Why aren't you naming the foreign hand who you're accusing of this external conspiracy? Why isn't Imran Khan doing that?
But that has happened. That has happened. Imran Khan, Prime Minister, has shown the letter to I think his cabinet, to some parliamentarians, and he has shown the letter to some of the prominent journalists. Obviously, if people like Naseem Zahra or other people are tweeting about it, they have seen it. They have seen it very clearly. And if you can Google her tweet right now, but she's very upset. As a Pakistani, she's outraged at what has been said in that letter. The only thing that is happening in Pakistan is the inability of the other side to accept serving an incumbent prime minister. That is the biggest tragedy Pakistan has faced since 1977, when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was removed through a military coup, and then he was assassinated. We call it an assassination, when he was hanged by General Ziaul Haq in 1979. So parties that abetted, like PMLN, it was only PMLN then, and right now it's PMLNQ and PMLN. So these parties, they were abettors at that time, but then they also became the victim of the same system. The interference of the military establishment in the civilian domain. So twice Benazir Bhutto's government was removed. Then it happened to Nawaz Sharif thrice. Then Yusuf Raza Gilani, PPP's prime minister, was removed in 2012, and then Nawaz Sharif in 2017.
No, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question about that pattern of history that you're talking about. But just to close the loop on the letter, you've got Abdul Basit, senior diplomat. He's been ambassador to India as well, saying that this so-called threatening letter, I'm sure you've seen this tweet as well, Meher, saying that this threatening letter is an assessment of the Pakistan ambassador and not a threat from the US government. And he also says that Imran Khan has harmed Pakistan's interests in the manner he has conducted diplomacy. So the allegation is that Imran Khan is trying to make this letter, create an aura of threat around his personal, position as the Pakistan Prime Minister, when it is just a routine assessment of the diplomatic engagement.
The thing is, the problem is, it's a catch-22 or a no-win situation, or it's very interesting. Imran Khan, as the Prime Minister of Pakistan, is trying to have an independent foreign policy, a foreign policy that is not swayed by the establishment's dictates or any other country's wishes. So now when he's trying to do that, when he's now his visit to Russia, just right at the time when Russia invaded Ukraine. Now, I'm not a foreign policy expert, but I don't think it's very easy for a prime minister of a country to simply cancel a visit to another country, that to a country that is of immense power in a number of ways. So Naseem Zahra has said that US Under Secretary of State did call outgoing Ambassador Dr. Asad to deliver a démarche. I'm sorry, I have always mispronounced this word. I don't. Maybe you can correct me. For Pakistan government,
that's totally fine.
He told Ambassador PM Imran Khan, is PM relations with Pakistan can't improve, and if it goes, Pakistan can be forgiven for its mistakes. Outrageous official communication, all must condemn.
Okay.
So it was delivered as a message. It's not that they were having a conversation, that they were talking about among themselves. Yes, perhaps Prime Minister Imran Khan has decided to bring this out, to talk about this at a time when he's facing a political turmoil. But who won't? Because as a Pakistani, let me tell you one thing, that despite the inflation, people have never really been out on the streets to demand that Imran Khan must leave, and because people, despite their misgivings, are very clear about one thing: the Aam Aadmi, the educated class, people, the business community.
I'll come to that, Meher, in my final question. But just before that, I do want to ask you, because Imran Khan has now moved court against this trust motion in the parliament. I'm just wondering, given the history of regime changes in Pakistan, as a journalist, I must ask, does Imran Khan, is he justified in fearing for his safety? Do you think there is a threat to Imran Khan, possibly being arrested or acted against at the other end of whatever is happening right now?
Oh, I mean, not that I would ever like to say these things about my country, but yes, anything is possible. Unfortunately, that is the problem. That is what I have been trying to say, that we want the system to work. We want all elected governments to work to complete their terms. We want all prime ministers to complete their terms. I said this for Yusuf Raza Gilani. I said this for Nawaz Sharif. During Benazir Bhutto's time, of course, there was no social media, but we have been saying this, we who grew up in Zia's time, we are very categorical about this. We want the system to work. I don't think you need to understand that there is no charge. There is nobody is pointing any kind of finger at Imran Khan. There are no corruption charges. He has never been accused of, like doing anything that.
But Meher, and this brings me to my final question. Since you mentioned that, I'll bring that to my final question, which is, there was this Naya Pakistan which Imran Khan had promised. There were great hopes from his prime ministership. Even those who are sort of neutral about Imran Khan, and we are external here, and just as an observation, because this obviously matters more to the people of Pakistan, is that he pushed the country to bankruptcy. He failed to rein in the extremists. The Baloch problem became bigger than it ever has, under his stewardship. So there have been multiple failures, to be looked at on his watch as well. That can't be ignored.
That everything is has been brought under control. There is no people are not dying everywhere. The extremists have raised their heads again. I mean, started their activities again. But there has been action against that. As far as certain things were concerned, his promises of bringing the looted money back into Pakistan, or changing things in 90 days. I think he was under the misconception that just like his cricket team, just like his hospital, if the leadership is dedicated and committed and honest, you can bring about a change. That was his idealism, which should have been pushed to the back burner, and he should have been more practical about certain things. But I am saying this as a Pakistani who lives in Pakistan. Everything I am is in Pakistan. Everything I have is in Pakistan. Okay, well, my son studies abroad, but I mean, my family is here, the rest of my family. So things are getting better. Like right now in Punjab, my province, 110 million people have been given universal health care. Now each and every person in the province has been given this facility. Pakistan's
it's going to be I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, that there must have been some good things that Imran Khan has also done, but the reality that faces Imran Khan and his government right now is that it's facing an uphill battle. His numbers in that trust vote are falling. We'll have to see where things land. As you rightly said, Meher, in your country, anything can happen, and history has often stood testimony to that. Always a pleasure. Great to see you again, Meher. Stay safe, and we will keep connecting with you. Thank you very much for your time here on India Today. Is Imran Khan facing one of the biggest turning points of his life in the next few hours or days? There's no mistake about one thing. Imran Khan is perhaps the world's most famous living Pakistani at this point of time. Known all over the world and for so many different things, from winning World Cups to the women he's married, to his controversies, to becoming a popular Prime Minister of Pakistan. Well, as he contemplates the next big milestone in his life, which could be exit as Prime Minister, here's a useful report looking back on how he got this far.
From lifting the first and only World Cup for Pakistan to becoming the Prime Minister of the country,
Imran Khan Niazi,
Imran Khan has travelled a long way. Among the greatest cricketers of Pakistan, Imran made his Test debut against England in 1971. He went on to be hailed as one of the world's best all-rounders.
Is it that miles? That has gone miles. It is a huge six.
In 1992, Imran came out of retirement and created history by leading Pakistan to a stunning World Cup triumph. Imran smartly cashed in on his popularity and started a new innings in politics, forming the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf in 1996. After the initial setback in the 1997 general elections, Imran was elected to the National Assembly from the Miawali seat in the 2002 general elections. Imran was imprisoned briefly for criticizing the regime of General Pervez Musharraf. Years later, he coined the Naya Pakistan promise, which many believe won him the Prime Minister's office. The PTI launched protest against then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif after the release of the Panama Papers in 2016 that alleged that Sharif has stashed unaccounted wealth abroad. Imran's political stature grew after the courts began the trial of Sharif and his family in the Panama Papers case. In the 2018 general elections, Imran's PTI emerged as the single largest party in the National Assembly. He took oath as the 22nd Prime Minister of Pakistan on August 18, 2018. Anyone who has tracked Imran's career, whether in cricket or politics, will vouch for one fact: never write him off. He won the World Cup after coming out of retirement at the ripe age of 40. He became the Prime Minister after 22 years of active politics. Imran is a fighter. He has pledged to battle it out till the last over. And even if the skipper gets out in this innings, Imran is there for many more matches to come. Bureau Report, India Today.
We've got a spotlight on the Pakistan potboiler, and we'll keep you posted on whether Imran Khan stays or whether he's going to leave as Prime Minister. Keep watching India Today.